China is carrying out mass DNA testing in Tibet to create a biological database of people to monitor them. Reports quoting Tibet press say a random collection of DNA is taking place in several towns and the Tibetan Autonomous Region. The Chinese Communist Party, or the CCP, is using biosecurity as an agency to control the population in Tibet, East Turkestan, and southern Mongolia. The Human Rights Watch has identified DNA collection drives in 14 distinct localities. Earlier, China used similar biological means to sterilize thousands of Uyghur Muslims. The DNA collection drive will keep Tibetans engaged, along with unhappy Chinese citizens who continue to resent the communist government and not let them unite to protest against the regime. Reports say this will let Chinese President Xi Jinping have a smooth meeting at the 20th National People's Congress and eventually let him become the president for the third term. Tibet has been repressed by China since the establishment of the People's Republic of China in 1949. There have been reports about China's frequent announcements about new laws to control the masses in Tibet, East Turkestan or Xinjiang, or South Mongolia. The biosecurity measures have caused a total disregard for humanity and will eventually need an action against China. With this database, the Chinese states will be able to keep an eye on citizens for generations. Our next report has more details.
Every human is unique. There are specific identifiers that sets us apart from the rest, like our fingerprints, the iris in the eye, even our voice. These features are not like the password of your email. They are almost impossible to replicate because they are defined by your DNA. What happens if someone gets access to your DNA? They can track you in ways you cannot even imagine. A new dystopian nightmare is unfolding in China. Tibet has been serving as a laboratory for the Chinese surveillance state. Surveillance techniques used in places like Xinjiang were tested and perfected in Tibet first, and now Chinese officials are conducting a new experiment. They are gathering DNA samples across Tibet. The Chinese say it is part of a crime detection drive. Officials collect two main kinds of samples, fingerprints and blood samples. The drive covers adults and children. Even kids as young as 5 years old have had their samples taken. Where are these samples going? To the Chinese police. The local cops are building a database about it. They began collecting DNA data in 2019. It is part of a policing campaign called the Three Greats: inspection, investigation, and mediation. This database can have a devastating effect on the Chinese society. Using it, China can identify not just dissidents, but also their families, even their close relatives. This is the next frontier for surveillance in China. DNA data is less likely to change over long periods of time. That's why the Communist Party is keen on building massive DNA databases. With millions of records in its archive, the Chinese state can track families through generations. What could that look like? Here is how Chinese investigators could use the DNA database. When they look for a suspect, they'll know about his or her parents, grandparents, even the ancestors. It will be the most comprehensive profile of a citizen. For Chinese investigators, such databases can generate a list of targets to go after. The Chinese state can even surveil future generations. DNA sampling tightens the Communist Party's grip. It makes sure the party stays in control, not just today, but in the future as well. Bureau Report, WeOn, World is One.